Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the North Lincolnshire series, a district of 56 parishes in the north of Lincolnshire. Let's see which one we're visiting today. Okay, today in North Lincolnshire it's a little bit dull and grey and there's a bit of rain in the air. Nothing I can't handle though. And this is a very nice village which will brighten the spirits even if the weather isn't thinking the same. This is Redbourne. This North Lincolnshire episode is sponsored by Past Days, a family history blog by June Terrington. You'll find her link in the description. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Redbourne is a village and civil parish situated near the A15 road and 5 miles south of the town of Brigg. Our route begins in the centre of the village on Beck Lane, and that's an accurate name. That's because the name Redbourne is derived from the Old English name Hredburna, meaning reedy burn, a reference to a stream running through the village, and it's most likely this one. It's not long before we're encountering some local trade. Whilst the village has no shops, this vegetable stall has plenty on offer, much more than the average roadside stall. In the centre of Redbourne is a huge village green in front of the village pub, which we'll come back to later. It's got a small car park in the middle of it as well. The centre is also where you can pick up the local bus service. To get to Redbourne, you'll be needing either the 161 or the number 94. Part of Redbourne is a conservation area, designated as such in 1985 when the area was under the old Humberside County Council. It covers the historic village core. Redbourne covers an area that's generally flat. It's situated in an idyllic spot that was, and still is to some extent, low cars and marshes. This road leads to Hibaldstow. On the way we pass the Redbourne Centre, which is a care home. Although maps show that to be over the road, I think this building is part of it. Our route takes a turn now down Car Lane and into an area called Little Redbourne. We're heading for Redbourn Hall, which you can reach via a series of footpaths out towards the east of the village. Redbourn Hall was anciently held by the Sothill family. Sir Gerald Sothill owned a castle here in Redbourne, as well as some land, both here and in nearby Blyton. The village is associated with the Dukedom of St Albans. The Redbourne estate came into the family's possession in 1791 when Lord William Beauclerk married Charlotte Carter-Thelwall. Beauclerk was to become the 8th Duke, while Carter-Thelwall was to inherit the estate from her late father, the Revered Robert Carter-Thelwall. In 1917, the estate was sold by the trustees of the 11th Duke, and it's now in private ownership. We've hit Park Lane now, which is where we'll find those footpaths. We cross over the beck again, although it doesn't look much like one at this point, if I'm honest. Water was important to Redbourne. In 1813, a canal was cut from the village to the River Ancombe. Now, as footpaths go, these are exceptionally well maintained. They are in no way overgrown, and they're relatively flat. Even this bridge is well looked after. The footpath hits a second one here which leads back into the village. Onward though, for Redbourn Hall. You do feel as though you're leaving civilization out here. Mind you, there are some pretty good views of Redbourn village from this position. The footpath then meets a third one here just before Redbourn Hall, which runs to the north towards Redbourne Hayes, another residence to the south of RAF Hibaldstow. So just peering through these trees, you can see what looks like the remains of a chapel in the grounds of this house here off this footpath. I wonder if it was. Might have been a chapel linked to Redbourn Hall, which by the way, we're going to see in a moment. So here we are at Redbourn Hall, dating from the late 18th century and designed by the architect John Carr of York. A country house, it's now used primarily as flats. A painting of Revered Robert Carter-Thelwall and his family, shown in the grounds of Redbourn Hall by the artist George Stubbs, can be found in the collection of the Holborn Museum of Art in Bath. At the end of the drive leading to Redbourn Hall is an ornate gatehouse. Together with the wing walls and lodge, the gatehouse is Grade 2 listed. It dates from 1775 and 1776. The gatehouse lies at the side of Redbourne Road, the main road towards Waddingham, and this roundabout, where it meets the B1206. Also designed by John Carr, over the main arch can be seen an ashlar tablet with the Duke of St Albans' monogram and coronet, surmounted by a carved lion passant. Now, we've done a lot on the outskirts of the village up to now, but we haven't really seen the village centre much yet. Time to go back up the high street. Okay, so now we're going back into the village. We still need to catch a few things, including the village pub. There's the parish notice board, and most importantly, the church, which is depicted on the village sign. The Red Lion Hotel is next. This is believed to date back to about 1650, and it became something of a roaring success in the 18th century as a coaching inn, being on the route between Brigg and Lincoln. Situated on the green, this is one of the many northern watering holes said to have been visited by legendary highwayman Dick Turpin at some point in the 1720s or 1730s. The original brick building was refaced in the early 20th century in Tudor style with white render and timber boarding. We'll talk some more about this little building next to it at the end. You can't deny that Redbourne's industrial activity is rooted in farming. There's a few old examples of farm machinery on the green. Also on the green is another village sign, this one having been erected for the millennium. This depicts some of Redbourne's farming history as well, with some ears of wheat carved upon it. On the back of the post, there's a dog's head. This is the logo of the master craftsman Richard Collinson of Brigg, who carved the sign. Okay, next up, it's up Vicarage Lane, and this will take us towards the church. I can cut through the churchyard and it'll bring me out on School Lane, and that will complete like a kind of a circular walk. It's like a big circle with like a little bit in the middle, if you know what I mean. You'll see from the Strava map. Down Vicarage Lane we find the village's recreational area. This is pretty well served for all. It has some tennis courts and there's a large play area and football goal. We can cut through this into the churchyard, thus linking Vicarage Lane and School Lane together. The 90 feet of stone that is St Andrew's Church Tower overlooks this. The parish church of St Andrew is redundant, and it has been since 1978. It's now maintained by the church's Conservation Trust, and it's a Grade 1 listed building. Although the church has 14th and 15th century origins, the bulk of the existing building is 18th century and it represents a Georgian Gothic style. Alterations made between 1772 and 1774 were by Lincoln architects Thomas and Henry Lumby. The chapel on the south side of the chancel served as a mausoleum for the family of the Dukes of St Albans. We're out onto School Lane and we have an old red telephone box. No prizes for guessing what this one's used for now. This rain doesn't show any signs of stopping at the moment. Thankfully, I'm on the last part of the walk around. So to School Lane, and this street is pretty much a dead end. Arguably, the most interesting things about Redbourne, though, can be found along this one street. For starters, we have this old gateway. I thought this was to do with the churchyard initially, but it is in fact the entrance to the former school here in Redbourne. And here is the old school, built here in 1840 at the cost of the 10th Duke of St Albans. It was enlarged in 1891 to hold up to 62 children. The average attendance in 1913 was 42. Redbourne's castle was close by as well. The school was built on Castle Hill according to records. The village also has a small moated area, Tunstall, which is the site of a small priory of Gilbertine nuns. This end of School Lane is pretty much all new builds if you keep walking, so I turned around and went back to where the village stocks were once sited. And they were here, outside the village smithy, a 300-year-old forge that's still going, using traditional blacksmithing methods, thanks to Cameron Huggins. Okay, just time to plot one of these on the village notice board, which is here at the entrance to the church. There are actually two notice boards. There's one on the green as well, so I'll put a card on that one as well, but I won't bother filming it. Can I get this pin off? Ah, yes I can. There we go. Officially done. There we are. And that is my cue to give you today's picture bit. And here it comes for the parish of Redbourne. One thing I didn't find in the village was a war memorial, but this is perhaps the nearest I got. With a reference to the poppies on Flanders Fields, this is on the village green. Speaking of which, our final landmarks are around the green, one of which refers to RAF Hibaldstow, an airfield which partly falls within Redbourne's boundaries. RAF Hibaldstow was built with greater things in mind, but it was used as a satellite airfield for RAF Curtin in Lindsey in 1941. We'll talk more on this in Hibaldstow's episode. And lastly, check this out. This tiny old fire station with a bell over the door still contains a fire engine from the 1830s. It adjoins the northern end of the Red Lion Inn. So there is the other village notice board on the green as well, opposite the pub. You can see the rain is absolutely lashing down at the moment. It just hasn't abated at all, and I am absolutely sodden. I'm hoping that the next time you see me in North Lincolnshire, the rain will not be an issue and it'll be a nice bright sunny day and everybody can be happy. To be fair though, rain or shine, you know me, I will film in any weather. I've filmed in snow before, so I don't care. Time for me to move on to my next one. This has been the parish of Redbourne in North Lincolnshire, and I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and about.